Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints are in Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. I got a player prop, game pick, same game parlay, inbound. What's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Let's absolutely destroy Monday night. Now, if you're looking for my Monday Night Football picks for the Browns versus Steelers game, that video will be posted right after this one. So go on over to that. I'll link it at the end of the video. Got another player prop, game pick, and same game parlay. But first off, let's do a short recap of how we did on Sunday. A massive day for us. 4-0 on player props, a sweep there. 1-1 on game picks, 5-1 overall. We actually do have one pick pending. I'm recording this at halftime of the Patriots game. We did take them +3. They're down 14. Praying for a miracle here. Hopefully they can come back. But either way, if it was a 5-2 day or a 6-1 day, we'll take it regardless. Let's try to keep that momentum coming into Monday night. We do have a great offer on DraftKings. They upped their bonus offer. I've talked about it a couple times, but I do want to talk about it one more time. They increased their sign-up bonus. So here's how you can do it. You can sign up with the top link in the description. You can make a $5 money line bet. Not only will you get $200 in site credits, win or lose, but you can get up to $150 in no sweat bets on the NFL. That means if you bet something and maybe it loses, they'll probably give you a risk-free bet back to use for other picks. So take advantage of it. All details down below. DraftKings, one of the great books that I think our same game parlay is there because that has much better odds than FanDuel or either way. But either way, let's keep it moving. We got to get out of here. Let's talk about our player prop for this game, and it's going to be an under. Everyone absolutely hates unders, and I understand why. No one wants to root for an under, but I think this is a good spot to target. And we're going to Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints under 54.5 receiving yards, -110 on Bet365. Now, the fun part about taking an under is because if I take an over and it hits, I probably get 3 comments saying, hey, great call. If I take an under and it absolutely flops, hundreds of comments are coming out of nowhere because everyone hates taking unders. But I think this is a good one. If you don't want to take an under, don't take it. But I really think this is a good spot for taking a Michael Thomas under in Carolina. Now, you look at Michael Thomas coming off actually a very good game. This guy has dealt with a lot of injuries, but he's coming off a 5 reception, 61-yard effort on 8 targets in week 1 versus the Titans. Now, it's worth noting, Titans, one of the best matchups to take wide receivers in the NFL. Last year, they sucked. This year, it really hasn't, we saw the Chargers just carve them up as well. But either way, I think this is a good matchup to fade him against a tougher match. Anything is tougher than what we saw from the Titans last year and probably this year too. The Panthers are very good defense. I mean, in week 1, they held the Falcons wide receivers to only 31 yards. That was all to Matt Collins. Now it's worth noting only 115 total pass yards. We know the Falcons are going to be a very very run heavy team with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Agio, but still they did pretty well. We saw Falcons wide receivers have 127 yards in week 2. So they were able to do pretty well in week 1, hold down the Desmond Ridder led passing offense, which obviously is not going to pass for a lot of yards this year, but still, Michael Thomas, no longer the number 1 guy on his team. Chris Olave is that guy who had 112 yards in week 1. And we saw Michael Thomas has struggled versus Carolina. He's had some injuries here and there, but his last 5 games versus the Panthers, 49, 29, 101, 37, and 49 yards, going under in 4 of 5. So, look, the Panthers defense should make life difficult on Carr and the Saints wide receivers on the road. Michael Thomas also had a 25-yard reception last week, which he doesn't get the longest receptions in the world. He's normally more of, everyone calls him slant boy, but he's normally more of those intermediate, short routes, whereas Chris Olave is the guy that's kind of stretching the defense a little bit. But either way, I'm expecting a down week for Michael Thomas in the Saints offense. After passing for 305 yards with Derek Carr last week, Carr's line all the way down to 235. So clearly expecting not a big, output out of Derek Carr. I think that goes on to Michael Thomas as well. Hopefully he goes under. Chris Olave, he can have all the receiving yards in the world. Michael Thomas, sorry, man, we're fading you. I won't take a lot of unders this year, but I think this is a good spot to fade Michael Thomas coming off a very good game. Give me his under 54.5 receiving yards. Let's keep moving, though, to my game pick, and this might not come as a surprise if you just looked at that analysis we just talked about. Going with the Panthers, +3, -110 on BetMGM. Now, some books will give you 2.5. Obviously, if you can, try to find a book with the +3. BetMGM had it. I have no idea where this game goes by kickoff. So, we're posting this video about 24 hours before kickoff. Maybe the line, you get a better line, maybe you get a worse line. If you can't get that 3 number, it's important because we know if maybe the Panthers lose by a field goal, we get our money back. Whereas if you take 2.5, you're screwed. But let's talk about this one because we took the Saints on the spread last week and they screwed us. So I'm coming back for coin fading them. And they had a lot of things go their way last week. You saw Derek Carr throw for 300 yards. They forced Ryan Tannehill into 3 interceptions. They held Derrick Henry to 60-something yards rushing. They still couldn't cover this line, and I'm going to fade Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, who have not been good as favorites. In fact, you look at Dennis Allen, the Saints head coach. Yeah, he struggled. He struggled to string together good games as well. He's 3-12 against just straight up after a win. Also 5-12 and 1 against the spread versus divisional foes. So this is a guy that's really struggling. 1-9 against his last 10 divisional games. So I look at a guy like Dennis Allen, hasn't been able to string together very good, consistently good wins, win 2 games in a row, really. And with Derek Carr, the QB, a guy that just has not been good as a favorite either. Look at Carr, 17, 29, and 1 against the spread as a favorite with the Raiders, and he's now 0-1 against the spread as a favorite with the Saints. Carr, third least profitable quarterback in the last 20 years to back as a favorite. Sure, I'll happily fade him. And while I'm not a guy that just, hey, here's some trends, that's what I'm going to bet. I also think that Bryce Young and the Panthers are going to have a good spot to win at home in this one. Look, Bryce Young, odds against him, everything was stacked up against him in week 1, just in terms of trends. You look at since 2003, number 1 overall picks, 0-14 and 1 straight up, 1-14 against the spread in week 1. In week 2, though, those QBs have been better. 7-2 against the spread record since 2010. So we see those rookie quarterbacks, number 1 overall QBs. They normally obviously take a game to get adjusted. It's the NFL. Going from college to the NFL, it's going to be different. I like Bryce Young to bounce back in week 2 against the Saints. Sure, they have a great defense. We know that. So do the Panthers. Panthers have a pretty solid defense, and we've seen the Panthers. They play well at home, and I think they're going to play well in this game. The Panthers actually were looking good in that game against Atlanta before the final score. I mean, the final score didn't look as close to the game it was. It was a 14 or a 10-10 game going into the fourth. Got outscored 14-0 in that fourth quarter. I like Bryce Young to play a little bit better on Sunday or on Monday night in this matchup, and I really do think that Bryce Young and the Panthers have a chance to not only win this one outright, but I'll take the +3 to be a little bit safe. But divisional game, I love to take those teams that are at home in this one. We've done it a couple times so far this season. I really think that back in divisional teams at home is the way to go. So give me the Panthers +3. Let's hope they can get it done, and let's also hope that Michael Thomas just puts up an absolute dud, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and go 2-0. But I said at the top of the show, we got a same game parlay, and this one is spicy. Let's dive in. We got Miles Sanders, another guy that I did consider as prop, 50 plus rushing yards. Miles Sanders, anytime touchdown, and Taysom Hill, anytime touchdown. Now, out of the legs, I rank them in order of, most likely to least likely to hit. And I really like those top 2 legs. Taysom is a little bit of a long shot. I'm not going to go out here and say, hey, Taysom Hill's going to get a touchdown. He's a lock. But I do like Miles Sanders in this matchup. Got a lot of touches last week. He's probably going to get that goal line work for the Panthers. So I like him to get the rush yards. The touchdowns, obviously a dart throw. Touchdowns are hard to predict, but I think he has the looks to get there. He also could get one receiving as well. I like him better than Chuba Hubbard in the receiving game. And then Taysom Hill, look, he's obviously a dart throw here, but Taysom Hill and the Saints, if there's anything I know, when they get near the goal line, Taysom is that guy that trolls and just comes on in and vultures every single touch. And if you had Kamara, who's suspended the first few games, you have Jamal Williams at fantasy, you just look at Taysom Hill coming in. He's got that look in his eye that he just wants to steal every single touchdown, rushing touchdown especially, known to man. So plus 1242 odds on FanDuel. I think it's a solid, decent option. I'm not saying to put a full unit on it like we did the previous 2 picks, but you want to throw $10 on it, maybe your unit size is 100. Sure. If you want to throw $1 or $2 on it, go for it. I think it's a fun sweat. Taysom can get that touchdown. I feel like we're sitting in a good spot for plus 1200 odds. Sure, we'll take a stab there. So I know it's a long shot, but it is a same game parlay. This game is honestly pretty difficult to make a same game parlay for, in my opinion. I really like the one that I cooked up for the Steelers game, but this one, these offenses are still kind of new. You're still kind of figuring out what's going on, especially in that Panthers offense with a lot of new faces, a new QB. So either way, our favorite picks of the day, you see that Michael Thomas. Sorry, man, we're fading you under 54.5 receiving yards, taking the Panthers plus the 3 at home, and that same game parlay I cooked up for you is right there. You can check it out or just scroll back in the video. But those are my 3 favorite plays of the day. 2 units, 1 unit on the first 2, just sprinkling on that last one. Of course, if you want to check out my favorite picks for that Browns-Steelers game posted right after this one, go check it out. I'll put the link up on the screen. If you want to go sign up for DraftKings, feel free to do it. All the details are down below in the description. Definitely go check it out. Hopefully you guys made some coin with us on Sunday, but hopefully if you didn't and you're new to the channel, hopefully you continue making some coin with us all year long, starting with this Monday night game. Let's go 2-0 in this one, 2-0 in the other one. Let's have a great Monday night and keep this momentum going into next week. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.